Good morning, children. Stay safely at home. So, from the force and pressure chapter, last lecture, I have discussed the details of force and turning effect of force and application of turning effect. I hope by the time you have learned it. Now, the concept of pressure. Alright. Now, what is pressure? Pressure is nothing but the force that acts perpendicularly on any surface per unit area. Just you try to understand it from this example. Just you consider this. Suppose I have taken the pen like this, and you see here this pointed tip. Here, if you consider the tip, it is very pointed. Means what? Area is small, and if you consider the back side, the area is more, it is broader, isn't it? Now you just do this experiment that you hold the pen or pencil like this, and by the two finger you press it. Then you will see that the end where the pointed tip is there, you will feel the pressure and you will be hurt at that point. Not only that, you will just look at your skin, it will get depressed. Alright, why it is happening? You see, in both the cases, you are applying the same force on both the fingers, but when it is a pointed tip, then your skin, it is getting depressed. Why? Because force is same in both the cases, but in this case, for the tip, area is small. So what is happening? Effect of the force acting on that area becoming bigger. And when the area is bigger, then effect of the force is becoming less. Now why it is happening? It is due to pressure. Alright. So what is pressure? Pressure is actually the force that acts perpendicularly per unit area. Now you know that you can apply, just you consider one surface. Now you see, I can press the surface in this direction, means you can apply the force in this direction. You may apply the force in this direction. You may apply the force. You see here, you may apply force in different direction. Alright. But if you consider this one, this force, how you are applying the force? Perpendicular to the surface. Alright. So this kind of force which is perpendicular to the surface is known as thrust. Alright, that only I have written. The force acting perpendicular to the surface is known as thrust. Alright, I hope it is clear what is thrust. Means if this is the surface, how you apply the force perpendicular to the surface, then that is known as thrust. Then what is pressure? Pressure is thrust acting per unit area. So you see, you can write pressure is equal to thrust by area. So thrust I have denoted by F, so it will be F by A. Now remember here, although in your book it is written force per area, but when you are applying the force like this, then remember the entire force we never consider to calculate the pressure. So that's why that concept is wrong. We cannot say it is force per unit area. It should be thrust per unit area. Because when force is not acting perpendicular to the surface, then we take the perpendicular component of the force to calculate the pressure. And here, so you see, you can write that pressure is equal to thrust by area, and thrust I have denoted by F, so it is F by A. Then SI unit of pressure is known as Pascal. It is the name of one scientist. Alright, so that's why when you will write down the full form, then P should be small. But when you will write down the abbreviation, then P should be capital. And we do not write only P, we write PA. Unlike Newton. In Newton, we write only N. But for Pascal, we do not write P, we write PA. P capital and A small. Then, how you can define 1 Pascal? So, you see 1 Pascal when you are writing, then what is the SI unit of thrust? 1 Newton. What is the SI unit of area? 1 meter square. So, you can write 1 Pascal is equal to 1 Newton per meter square. And other units of pressure will be how much? If you measure the thrust by kgf, because We studied that another unit of this one gravitational unit of force is kgf, kilogram force. So if you measure F by kgf, you measure A by meter square, then it will be kgf per meter square. If you measure F by kgf, if you measure area by centimeter square, then what will be the unit of pressure? It will be kgf per centimeter square. So these are all the points you are supposed to learn and remember. Now factors affecting pressure. So as we know, pressure is thrust per unit area, thrust per unit area. So easily we can say that the factors on which pressure depends are thrust acting on the surface and the area of the surface on which force applied. Alright. So here we can understand this by one activity. That activity you don't have to, the activity now I am discussing, you don't have to write in the study material notebook. Alright, I hope you are understanding what I am saying. So just understand how the factor on which the pressure depends. Alright, now suppose you have taken means brick. Alright, and you know that brick, it has one broader surface. This is the broader area. If I name it as A, B, C, D, this is a brick you have taken. So BC is the broader area, but if you consider CD, this area is less. Means actually it is a three-dimensional figure, it is like this. Alright. So if you consider the area CD, that is less, but BC is broader. Alright. Now you see how it depends on the area of the surface. That first one I am saying. So suppose you have taken some sand and then you place the brick like this, means on its broader area. Then you will see that it will get depressed the moment you will keep the brick on sand, and you know that sands are loosely bound. So what will happen? That the brick will get depressed. Then you see this is the amount by which the sand is getting depressed. Alright. Now you do this. You keep the brick on the narrow area. Then you will observe that it gets depressed by a larger amount. Alright. Now the question is why it is happening. Alright. This is our observation that when you are keeping it on broader edge, then the depression is less. And when you are making it narrow, then depression is more. Why? In both the cases you see what is the force. In this case, what is the force? Weight of the brick. In this case, what is the force? Weight of the brick. Is that clear? Now in this case you see what is pressure? Weight by area. Now A is more, so P is less. Is that clear? So this is the way point wise one can write if activity come in exam. But now you don't have to write in the study material notebook. Just understand it. I am telling you that this is the way one can handle it if it comes in the exam. Now, if you consider this case, in this case also what is the force you have applied? The weight of the brick. So, in both the cases forces acting on the sand, they are same. But in this case, how much will be the pressure? Weight by area. In this case, area is less. So, pressure is more. So, as pressure is more, it is getting more inside the sand. So, this activity proves that pressure, it depends on area of the surface on which force is applied. How does it depend? If area is less, pressure is more, and if area is more, then pressure is less. Now I will explain the first point, that how pressure depends on thrust. Alright. Now suppose you have kept the brick like this. So you see you are applying the force is perpendicular to it. So you see force and thrust, that is equal to W in this case. Alright. Now you do this. Means you keep the brick obliquely. Means you are keeping the brick like this. Alright. Then you see the weight is acting along this direction. Alright. Weight of the brick, but the entire weight is not acting on this area. Is that clear? Or you can understand it like this. If you you consider the brick this way, when you are keeping like this, then this is the way you are applying the force, but the perpendicular component of the force acting on the surface, that will be considered as the thrust. So what will happen? This perpendicular component, it will be less. So what is happening? You see, the depression is less. What does it mean? When you are applying the force perpendicular to it, perpendicular to the surface, then the entire force applied will be considered as the thrust. But when you are not applying the force perpendicularly, you are applying the force like this, then what will happen? The perpendicular component of this force will be considered as the thrust. Alright, component means what? It is a part of the force. Means you are not considering the thrust is not equal to the entire force. The thrust is equal to one part of it. Just you consider, our body is my hand is a part of my body. Is that clear? So if I consider my full body and if I consider only my hand, then definitely when I am considering my hand, then it is giving you the less amount, isn't it? So like that here also, when you are not applying the force perpendicularly, then what we do, we take the perpendicular component. This is the perpendicular component of the force, okay, which is equal to thrust. Alright, so what is happening? You just see, we are applying less amount of thrust. Now in your book, this point they have broken into two parts. They have written that it depends on the magnitude of the force, it depends on the direction of the force. Alright, but remember that why I am suggesting not to write that, because when we apply a force this way, then while calculating the pressure, we do not take this force, we take the component perpendicular to it, and that is thrust. Alright, so whenever we calculate pressure, we just calculate, we take it the thrust per unit area. Clear? So that's why I prefer that do not write that 2 points separately. Write it down this way, and then you can say the magnitude of thrust, it depends on the magnitude of the force as well as on the direction of the force. Is that clear? When the force is acting perpendicularly, then the thrust become maximum, and when force is not acting perpendicularly, then thrust become less than the total force applied. In that way, you can say that pressure, it is depending on thrust, and thrust depends on the magnitude of the force and the direction of the force. Alright, so when the thrust will be maximum, when the force is applied perpendicular to the surface, then thrust will be maximum. Next is application of pressure in our daily life. Now you will see that anything we use to pierce anything, to cut anything, always it will have a sharp edge or sharp end. Alright. Now why it is so? When we are using anything, it may be a knife, it may be anything, knife you can say, scissor you can say, give the example, needles you can give the examples. Then what happens? Always they are having a very sharp edge. Alright. So sharp edge, what it does, it reduces the area of contact. Alright. So when the area of contact reduces, then what happens? The pressure increases. So the pressure applied, when it will be more, then you will be able to pierce or you will be able to cut any object easily. Alright, so that is the first application in your life. Then second one, now girls, these applications in daily life you can read from the book itself, and I suggest that you write down the application of pressure in your daily life, all the application from the book in your study material copy. Why I am suggesting this? Because if you write more, then learning will be more. Alright, so that's why listen to the explanation, listen to all the explanation I am giving, but don't write anything, okay, because point wise I am not writing it, it will take time. So, and in the book nicely it is given. That's why I am suggesting that application of pressure in our daily lives, that you can write from the book itself. Okay. So first application, what I said, that all the cutting material or piercing material has a very sharp edge. Why sharp edge? Because it reduces the area of contact and it increases the pressure applied. And when pressure applied will be more, we can cut or we can pierce anything easily. Clear? Then second example, you will see that any bag, it may be your school bag, it may be any other bag by which you are carrying heavy loads. Then you will see the straps or the handles, they are made broader. Alright, why they are made broader? Broader means what? You just see pressure is equal to force by area. So broader means area will be more. So when area will be more, then pressure will be less. So what will happen when you will carry the heavy bag on your shoulder? Then on your shoulder you will feel less pressure, because that one, this belt or the strap is made broader. Now you have seen that when the skiers, that they ski on the snow, then they use this kind of a long and broad kind of wooden what I can say, wooden log they use, isn't it? Means the ski, they look like this. It is nothing but a broad and long wood one. Why it is so? Because broad means what? Pressure will be less. So that's why what will happen when they will move on the snow, they will not go deep inside the snow. Why? Because area is more, pressure is less, so they will be able to move on the snow very easily. The next example is, you will see that trucks or any vehicle carrying heavy loads, they will have double wheels and the wheels are quite broad. Alright, why the wheels are made broad? Because it will increase the area of contact, and that's why what will happen, the pressure exerted on the road, it will become less. That's why they will be able to move over any kind of road, alright, without going deep inside it or without damaging the road. That's why this one truck and this heavy vehicle, they are having the double wheels. Not only that, the wheels are quite broad, means the area of the wheels are very broad. Then if you consider the tank, okay, tank used, you will see that they are also having very broad wheels. Not only that, there is a chain which is connecting all the wheels together. Alright, so why this chain is given and why the wheels are made broader? Wheels are made broader to increase the area of contact and to decrease the pressure. Alright, and why the chain is there? Because the chain not only will control or synchronize the movement of all the wheels together, not only that, the chain, as it is having several groups on it, it is very rough. So it will increase the friction, and that's why the tank, they will be able to move smoothly on soft surfaces also, soft land also. Alright, so this is the reason that in case of tank, why the wheels are made broader. Now if you consider the tractors, I hope you have seen, tractors you will see the wheels, especially the back wheel, it is made very broad. Alright, why it is made very broad? So that area of contact increases, pressure decreases, and that's why as a result what will happen when they will move over the soft land, they will not go deep inside. Easily they will be able to move over the soft land. Okay, then if you consider the walls of a dam, you know what is the purpose of a dam? Purpose of a dam is to store the excess water, isn't it? Now if you consider the dam, then you will see the wall of the dam, it is made broader. Just look at it. At the top, the wall is narrow. The wall is made narrow. But as you are going down, this is a dam. Use your imagination. So this is the dam, and you see here the walls of the dam, how it is made. At the top the walls are narrow, but as you are going down, then the walls are made broader. Why the walls are made broader? Because you see, if you consider the pressure of the liquid increases with depth. Alright, at more depth the liquid exert more pressure. That I will discuss again in the liquid pressure topic. So what is happening? If you consider the pressure of water here, the pressure of water is given by this formula. Alright, height of the water, density of water, and the value of G. So here you see, when you are going deep inside, then this pressure is increasing. Alright, so pressure on the wall, at the bottom wall, is very high. So if you do not make it broad, then what will happen? It will not be able to withstand the pressure of the liquid exerted by it. So that's why in case of a dam, the dam wall, it is made broader at the bottom. Now if you consider the foundation of high rises, alright, more the floors a building will have, more broad the foundation is made. I don't know whether you have observed it, because nowadays children do not have time to observe anything other than mobile. So that's why if you go outside, or if you have gone somewhere, construction work is going on, then you will see that generally how the foundation is laid for a high rise. Okay, for a building which is having multiple floors, then you will see deep inside the earth, this way we dug deep inside the earth, then the foundation is laid, then the building is constructed. So high rise, for the high rises means the height of the building is more, then the foundation is made broader. So apply your common sense. Why the foundation is made broader? When the building is high rise, or height of the building is more. Height of the building is more means weight of the building is more, so thrust is more. Is that clear? So if the foundation is made broader, then what will happen? Pressure acting on the land where the building is situated will be less, and that will not be dangerous to the building. Otherwise what will happen? Due to the pressure exerted by the building may go inside it, isn't it? Inside the ground. So that's why the foundation of high rises generally are made very broad, wide. Alright. Then the next example is that you have seen that if you take a blunt nail, then it becomes difficult to put it inside the wall. Why? When it is a blunt means what? The area of contact is more. So when you are applying the force, then pressure acting on the nail on the wall, it will be less. So it will become difficult to fix the nail on the wall. But if it is having a sharp edge, then it is easy to fix it on the wall. Why it is easy? Sharp edge means area of contact is less, pressure is more. So when you are applying the force, then pressure acting on the nail on the wall will be more, and it will be easy to fix the nail on the wall. So that's all about the pressure in case of solid and the application of pressure in our day-to-day life. This is the application of pressure in solid objects, alright. And as I said, all the application that I discussed verbally, you must note it down from the book. Okay, you just find it out what is the page number. I cannot remember it, but you must note down the application of pressure in our daily life from the book in your study material notebook. Thank you, girls.